150 million rand for a COVID-19 relief fund. It's aimed at assisting artists, athletes and technical personnel. Priority will be given to artists and creatives who are already booked by some of the cancelled and postponed events funded by the department, as well as to the legends of the industry and other people in this industry. For more on this, we chat to Minister Nathi Mthethwa, who joins us now via Skype. Minister Mthethwa, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you. Good morning, and thanks for having us.
Now, Minister, bring us up to speed with the developments around the announced interventions to help creatives and cultural artists during this time by your department. And already 150 million rand has been announced as a part of these interventions.
Absolutely. And from after announcing the relief fund, we went about and set up the adjudication panels, which are going to be dispersing these funds, both from the side of sport and of arts and culture. This week, the team from sport was working on the applications, and they have approved some, and others they are still working on them. On next week, people should start getting their relief. Those who are being recommended by the independent panel. From the side of arts and culture, the team started its work yesterday, and the division of these applications, they are more biased to arts and culture, so meaning mostly artists who applied than athletes. If I may give a figure, initially there were about 6,000, and that 6,000, when it was sorted out, about 1,000 were applications which had nothing to do with the relief fund. So you have about 5,000 plus. From the side of sport, it's about 400 people who have applied for the fund, as it were. So that is why it was a bit quicker from the side of sport.
I mean, you mentioned 5,000 in the cultural sector and about 400 in the sports sector. I mean, is 150 million enough, Minister, to cater for the vast pool of artists and artisans and as well as athletes? I mean, what is the thought process of arriving at this figure?
Well, it's not enough. I don't think there would be anybody who would claim that they were ready for a situation, a disaster we find ourselves in.
Sure.
What the pandemic is doing. Mm-hmm. But the department redirected the budget for this quarter. All the monies which were prepared for or were for other programs were taken out of that and redirected. This is what the department has for this quarter, the first quarter of the new financial year. Okay. But your point is very important, because what it says is that as government, we've been saying that we need everybody to come on board and work with us, because this is much bigger than government. It needs a collaboration from the private sector as well, so that we are able to cushion the impact of COVID-19 pandemic to our people.
Who will then be responsible to channel the funds and make sure that they reach the intended persons, in this case, artists?
Well, in the case of artists, perhaps in the case of sports, it's the federations. On the side of artists, it's artists themselves who have applied together with their structures, their managers, and so on. So people from both sectors are organized in the sense that they have people they are working with, and those who have applied are the ones, the panel, the adjudication panels would be responding to. But from our side, we have said in instances where you have organizations like federations and so on, we still have an obligation to follow up that these funds really get to where they're supposed to, and that is to their athletes, as it were. And we have all the reason to believe that the people or the leaders of the sector and those who have applied are really going to ensure that they reach the intended target.
Let me get this clear, Minister. Is this fund aimed at compensating the artists for the gigs or performances that have been cancelled as a result of the coronavirus, or is it simply for their general upkeep and livelihood?
You actually have introduced it so well that it's a relief. It's a relief for those, including the freelancers who would have been booked elsewhere, and they couldn't because of the COVID-19 scourge, as it were. So the people who applied also include those who had already reached a point of MOUs and MOAs with the memoranda of understanding with the people and agreements with those people they had booked. So it's intervening in instances where people are helpless, but they've been confirmed to perform in one way or the other.
You know, when one thinks about the arts and culture, the general focus is normally channeled towards music. So what about the heritage? What about the books? What about the crafts, etc.? What about those ladies, for example, who do beadwork? Are they also entitled to this aid?
Absolutely. When we talk artists, we mean all areas of arts. We've been performing arts in all its forms. We mean arts and crafts. We mean designers. We mean a lot of people. So when we say artists and when we advertise the criteria, we expected all the artists, and they have applied as well. The team itself, the adjudicating panel, is made of people from all aspects of arts and culture, and heritage. So that has never been a confusion from the side of artists. I know that other people in society, when they think of art, they only think of a small section of performing art, which is musicians, as you say, and so on.
So what's the consideration then of channeling these resources to the various artists and athletes? Is it based on the value of the work of that particular artist, or is it the amount that that artist was supposed to be paid from that gig or performance, or is there a flat rate that will be given to all artists?
Well, it would be the value, as I say, that the experts then in the field who are the adjudication panel would be able to say this one is of value and so on. But yes, there is a flat rate because it is a relief. A 20,000 flat rate has been put on the table from this 150 million rands, meaning that it would be up to 20,000 rands, the kind of relief the department is offering to artists and athletes, because we want people to share this very fund, as you said, which is not enough. We knew from the beginning that it can't be enough because we have so many athletes in this country, we have so many artists in this country.
Okay. Now, Minister, we don't have much time, unfortunately, but before I let you go, for those artists who missed the deadline, which was the 6th of April, for any reason, of course, how can they be assisted by the department?
Well, it's difficult to say because they missed the deadline. If maybe in future there would be anything, obviously we'll be able to communicate with the public. But as things stand, there is no way to assist them at this point.
Minister Mthethwa, siyabonga kakhulu Nyambosa. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks.
Well, we just spoke to the Minister, Nathi Mthethwa, on the funds that the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture has made available for creatives due to the COVID-19 pandemic. 150 million rand has been set aside for this endeavour. We'll take a quick break. We'll have more in a moment.